Hi, welcome to my channel. My name's Kelly, and I'm a board certified hypnotist under the National Guild of Hypnotists. I'm also an instructor for the National Guilds and recently appointed the president of the Long Island, New York chapter of the National Guild. So, hypnosis is a passion for me. And today, what I want to talk about is the truth about hypnosis and bust some of the misconceptions. So, the first thing I'm going to start with is, what is hypnosis? Hypnosis is an altered state of consciousness. When someone is guided into hypnosis, they're guided into an altered state of consciousness. And what I mean by that is you're simply dropping out of the state of consciousness you were in. So when you walk into a hypnotist's office, you're in what's called a beta state of consciousness. You're hyper alert, you're aware of your environment around you. That's called a beta state. So what the hypnotist is doing is they're using certain words to guide your mind and your body into a more relaxed place, which would be an alpha state of consciousness. That's where the brain waves start to slow down and you start to focus more inward as opposed to the environment all around you, because all around you is nothing but distractions. So the hypnotist doesn't want you to be distracted. They want you to be relaxed, okay? But not only that, what happens is when you're in a beta state of consciousness, in a highly aware state of consciousness, what's very active in your conscious mind is called the analytical factor or the critical factor. The critical factor is a mechanism in your mind that analyzes all the information. So if you come to the hypnotist and you have a habit that you've had for many, many years, and now you tell the hypnotist, I want to change that habit and I want you to hypnotize me. So I release weight. I don't eat cake anymore. I'm not addicted to chocolate anymore. I want to stop smoking. I want to stop biting my nails. Okay. But you've been doing it a while. So your subconscious mind, right, which is below the conscious mind, and it's really out of your awareness, information is recorded there. And that information is from all of your situations, events, and memories through your lifetime. They're recorded. The way you perceived everything, okay, gets recorded. But also in your subconscious mind are all your beliefs about your environment and about yourself and about people. So that's all in there. So if you have a belief in your subconscious mind that cake makes me feel better, or bread brings me comfort, or smoking relaxes me, and then you bring in new information that you no longer want to smoke or you don't want the bread anymore, what you're really doing is you're asking the subconscious mind to give up the feeling of relaxation and comfort. So the critical factor, which is in the conscious mind, is going to block any information that's going to be in opposition to what's in the subconscious mind. That's because the subconscious mind doesn't really like to change. It doesn't like to change because in the subconscious mind, everything is like recorded, but also the subconscious mind works on a survival basis. If this is the belief system you've been holding on to for so long, why would you change it now? You've been surviving this all these years. If you change, what will happen? What risk are you taking if you change something you've been doing for so many years? So even though you want to change it on the conscious level, your subconscious mind doesn't really want to change it. So the critical factor is part of the conscious mind that analyzes all the new information coming in, and it's going to decide, does it agree with what's in the subconscious mind? If so, it lets it in. If it's in conflict with what's going on in the subconscious mind, it blocks the information. That's why it's kind of difficult to change a habit or a belief unless you're in this altered state of consciousness, because being in an altered state of consciousness relaxes that critical factor. So it's not analyzing the information, and the information can go directly into the subconscious mind without anything blocking it. So really what the hypnotist is doing, it's relaxing the conscious part of your mind, which is a smaller part of your mind, okay? Because it can only hold so many bits of information, and then the rest goes into the subconscious mind. So the hypnotist wants to relax that critical factor and get new information directly into your subconscious mind to counteract those old beliefs that aren't working for you anymore. So you may have created a belief during a time of stress that you reached for bread, you felt comfortable, you were feeding something inside of you that felt nervous or empty, right? And it brought you comfort. So you created a belief that bread brings comfort. So now when you get stressed as an adult, you go right for the bread, and then there you say, oh, there goes my diet. I'm eating bread. I've been stressed for a month now. I'm living on bread. I gained back the 10 pounds I lost. So the idea is to change that belief that the bread brings comfort. So the hypnotist would say things like, you no longer enjoy eating bread, you'd rather eat fruit instead. Fruit brings you comfort. Fruit brings you feelings of safety. Whatever you have that conversation with the hypnotist, they're going to create suggestions. They're going to work with you, work towards your goals, right? So the most important thing about hypnosis is to relax that analytical factor. And the way to do that is through hypnosis, getting into that altered state of consciousness, getting out of the beta state, that highly alert state where the critical factor is highly alert, analyzing all the information. We want that all relaxed, and to get new information into the subconscious mind. And what the hypnotist will do is probably see their client a few times to keep reinforcing the new information, because remember, we're trying to change old information that may have been there for many, many years. So the idea is to reinforce the information. So hypnosis works, but it does need to be repetitive. And this is called direct suggestion. The hypnotist is giving direct suggestions to the subconscious mind. It's bypassing the critical factor, the analytical mind, because the analytical mind is now relaxed, okay? You went from beta to alpha state. You dropped into slower brainwave states, which means you're letting go of trying to analyze everything, okay? And when you're not trying to analyze it, you're usually not trying to control it, which means you're allowing these suggestions to go right into the subconscious mind. I also highly recommend that if you are working with the hypnotist and you are doing what's called direct suggestion, where they're guiding you into a beautiful state of relaxation and giving you these suggestions, that you ask them to record a session for you so you can listen to it over and over again and keep reinforcing these suggestions. Usually after about 3 to 6 weeks after listening to the hypnotist reinforced by a recording, you're going to notice a major shift in your thought forms and your behavior. So the myths about it is that you would be unconscious while this is happening, and that's not true. You're not unconscious. As a matter of fact, you're quite aware, because you're blocking out all of the distractions from the outer world and you're focused inward. So you're very aware. You're wide awake. You're not asleep. You're aware. You know what's going on. You're just relaxed and you're not trying to control it, which is the most important thing. So you're not asleep. You're not losing control of your mind, okay? And the other thing is, some people say, will I get stuck in hypnosis? Absolutely not. No one's ever gotten stuck in hypnosis. Usually when you first come out of hypnosis, you might feel a little bit groggy, because it's like when you first wake up, right? But after a few minutes, you're back to beta state. You're wide awake again, and you're aware of your environment. And hypnotists will safely guide you back and talk to you a bit for a while until they know that you are back in your fully aware state. I mean, in your beta state, you have to be aware of the environment around you, because now you're going out into the world after you leave the hypnotist's office. But while you're with the hypnotist, they want you to block out the environment, because they want you focused inward. They want you relaxed. They want you to not control it, because when you try to control it, what's happening is you're bringing back the analytical mind, which is going to block the new information, and then changes won't happen. Another myth is that the hypnotist can take control of your mind and get you to give up some secrets, bank account numbers, social security numbers. Absolutely not true. You are pretty much aware. Anything that you don't like the hypnotist is saying or doing, you will be aware of it and you won't answer it. And also forget about what you see in the entertainment industry. That's called stage hypnosis, and it is staged. So that's for entertainment only. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes with the hypnotist and the people they're hypnotizing that you're not aware of. And to quickly explain it to you, they're hypnotizing these people over and over and over and over again, pulling them out of hypnosis, dropping them back in, pulling them out, dropping them back in. But while they're doing that, they're giving them suggestions that they're going to, at the sound of a bell, they're going to quack like a duck. So what they're really doing is they're choosing from the audience the people that are most highly suggestible, and people that do stage hypnosis are people that like to be on stage. They're really extroverts. They like to be on stage. They like to be funny. They're looking for those type of people. So they weed them out until they get down to about 5 to 7 people. They put those on stage. After backstage, they hypnotize them over and over and over and over again, so that they want people that like to be on stage and to take those suggestions and just perform on stage under hypnosis, even though they can block that because they have control enough to do that, they choose not to. And that's why the hypnotist, when they're doing stage hypnosis, knows how to look for the certain people that will do this type of stage hypnosis. So if you're in the audience and you get hypnotized easily, and they tell the whole audience, they give a suggestion and they say, I'm going to count from 1 to 10. At the count of 10, they're going to drop deep into hypnosis as soon as I snap my fingers at the end, and then they'll count to 10, and then they'll go like that, and they'll say sleep. And they're going to notice who really goes down into hypnosis very quickly. That means they're highly suggestible. And then they take some of them, bring them backstage, and then they keep hypnotizing them over and over again. And they're watching who goes in faster and faster and faster. Then they're checking to see who's going to be really highly suggestible and start quacking like a duck at the sound of the bell. Those are the ones they're going to bring up on stage, because these are the people that want to play. They want to have fun. So, but when you go to a hypnotist to do healing, you're not doing stage hypnosis. You're doing healing work. You're doing really valuable healing work. Now, another way of doing hypnosis is called transpersonal hypnosis, which is what I specialize in. And that's when you're doing interactive work with your client. So you're dropping them into a deep state of relaxation. And what I mean by that is you're saying certain words, you're guiding their body and their mind into a very relaxed place. And I like to take my clients beyond what's called alpha state into slowing their brain waves down even more into what's called the theta state, because in the theta state, a lot of deep healing can take place, because I'm also working not just with the subconscious mind, but I like to work with the unconscious mind with repressed memories. And what I mean by repressed memories are memories that are so out of our awareness, and not because they've dwindled over time and were forgotten about. These are memories that were blocked from the beginning because my client either went into shock, they couldn't handle what was happening, and what happens is they repress the memories, and then the memories get blocked by the mind. It's a strategy the mind can use called protection. It's protecting the deep wound that the person felt. And this is when there's deep trauma. And, you know, deep trauma can actually come from being young and your parents get divorced, or there was a lot of fighting, or you lost a pet, or there was a serious illness, or you were ill, you lost a loved one, sexual molestation, you know, stuff like that. These are deep traumas, and they get repressed because the mind could not handle it. The part of you that had to go through, that went through that, the child part of you, say, didn't have the resources to process what was going on, so it had to get repressed. So you don't have these resources when you're in shock. You don't have these resources when the conscious mind shuts down because you went into a state of emotional crisis. You went into survival mode, or you were a small child. But either way, these memories get repressed because you don't have the resources at that moment, for whatever reason, to process what's happening. So you had to repress it. So in transpersonal work, I'm working with the unconscious, but I'm also working with the spirit. So transpersonal means working with the mind, the body, the spirit. I work with the spirit of who you are, meaning an intelligence, your intuition, your intelligence, your spiritual self, your loving and compassionate self. Or I'm also working with spirit guides. If you tell me you have spirit guides or you have certain deities that you pray to or work with, I work with them with you to help with your healing process. So that would be transpersonal work. So if you're seeking out a hypnotist, I do want to say, if you've never been to one and you're skeptical about it, I did want to bring you the truth about it, and to also let you know that when you go to a hypnotist, you're not asleep. No one's controlling your mind. You don't get stuck in hypnosis, and no one can make you do anything you don't want to do. You don't give up any information you don't want to give up. You are very much aware when you're in hypnosis. You know, when people come to me and they say, oh, I went to a hypnotist, but I wasn't hypnotized. And I said, well, what makes you say you weren't hypnotized? They say, I remember everything. Well, there you go. You do remember everything because you're not asleep. So it doesn't mean the hypnotist did anything wrong. You do remember. Over time, you may forget it because when you're in hypnosis, it's kind of like you're in a dream state. And you know, when you have a dream, you remember when you first wake up. Well, you remember everything during the dream too. You're having a dream. You're noticing what's happening, right? So when you're in hypnosis, you notice what's happening. You notice that the hypnotist is talking to you. You notice that you're very relaxed. You know that you might even feel a little sleepy, but you remember everything. And then after time goes on, you forget, right? So it's basically the same thing. So just know that you're not asleep. You're very aware. It's very safe. It's very healing. There's different types of hypnotists. There's different types of work they do. So do your research on it. And if you're seeking out a hypnotist, because now I made you feel better about it, ask them the type of work they do. Ask them their protocol and see if it's a good fit for you. And if it feels like a good fit and you resonate with the hypnotist, you're going to have an amazing healing experience because it's going to allow you to feel comfortable with them, to trust them, and to surrender to the process. And also know that you are very much a participant in the healing process. You know, one of the misconceptions about hypnosis is that the hypnotist has this ability to get you unconscious and then go into your brain and rewire it. And that's not the way it works. They're just guiding you into a relaxed place, but you have to participate in your healing process. You have to allow yourself to relax. You have to allow the suggestions in. And if it's interactive work, you have to allow the hypnotist to work with you interactively. And when you can allow all this, deep healing will take place. So just remember that you're not losing control and nobody has control over you. You're just in a very relaxed place, but you're also a very much our participant in this healing process. You have to be, otherwise the healing's not going to take place. So allowing the suggestions to come into you means you're not blocking it. The way you would block it is to not trust your hypnotist, to not trust yourself, to not trust the process, to not be open to it, to not trust hypnosis itself, which means you're going to keep that critical factor very much in power, and it's going to block any new information coming in. So if you really want to have a powerful and deep healing journey with a hypnotist, you have to trust it. So that's why I say do your research, talk to the hypnotist, find out what their training is, find out how they work. Are they doing transpersonal? Are they doing interactive work, which means you're speaking to them while you're in that relaxed place? Are they doing direct suggestion? Tell them what your goals are, asking them how they would work with that. And if you feel comfortable with it, then there's a very good chance that you will have a really, really great healing. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. So just wanted to wish you a very good day or evening, wherever you are in the world, and many blessings. Okay, be well.